Welcome to Be in the Garden. Welcome to Be in Nature. I trust you are well. I certainly am. As you can see, I have this huge parcel. I recently received this delivery of bare root trees. What are bare root trees? Bare root trees are trees or bare root plants are plants that are delivered only during the dormant season. So here in the UK, we're talking about the months of November, December, January, February, around those times. The plants need to be dormant in order for them to be delivered because this is a time when the plants are not growing and therefore the supplier can send them out without any soil whatsoever. It's a very cost-effective way of purchasing plants. Bare root trees and bare root plants are available online here in the UK. It's a great way to establish a garden because it's very cost effective, and the reason why is because selling of these plants is limited to the dormant or winter season. However, it requires less labour in the preparation because there's no soil. Bare roots are not the same as root balls. Root balls are also only sold during the winter or dormant season. However, they're slightly more expensive than bare roots because root balls do come normally with the roots wrapped in a hessian sac and a certain amount of soil. I find bare roots to be such an economical way of getting plants into your garden. If you've never tried them before, do have a look online or perhaps ask your local nurseries whether they do sell some bare root plants. You can buy things like strawberry plants, black currants, soft fruits such as raspberries, black currants. Here I have some English yew hedge, which I'm just planting along a border. It's very important when you receive the bare roots, because they have no soil, to plant them into the soil as soon as you receive them. You treat them like any other plant. So once planted, do water them in regularly. And before you know it, the roots will start to establish as the weather becomes more favourable. At the same time as planting out some yew hedges, I'm also pruning back some of the euonymus. This is a variegated version. However, with the cuttings, these are not going to be disposed of. I'm going to use them to do some hardwood cuttings. In other words, by taking some cuttings from some existing plants, it is possible to grow some new hedges. It's just as simple as that. You can't get more cost effective than that, can you? In the winter, it's normally usual to take hardwood cuttings. Hardwood is from the part of the tree or plant or hedge that where the wood has actually hardened and it's not the new growth, it's growth from the previous year. Whereas in the spring and the summer, it's possible to do soft cuttings, which is the fresher parts of the plant. So what I'm going to do is take some cuttings And I'm actually going to put them into simple sand, just sharp sand. In the meantime, I do have some remainders of the bare roots that I haven't yet managed to plant out. And as I've said previously, it's really very important that these roots do not dry out. So what I'm doing is just digging out a trench essentially, and I'm going to temporarily plant the bare roots in here, heal them in and ensure that they are covered with soil. I will also water them in. That's simple. A trench, plant them in, heal them in, cover the roots, water them in. I'll just remove these as and when I need them. On to the next task. I've got here some sharp sand. You can use grit or a mixture of grit and soil, but I've just got 2 bags sharp sand, and that's going to be the medium into which I'm going to place the cuttings. Making new plants from cuttings is really quite simple. I normally do a diagonal cutting at the very base, And that just is an indication to me that that's the bottom of the plant in case they get mixed up. You want to trim the leading part of the plant so that the plant doesn't try to put the energy into growing any taller and it starts to put the energy into growing the roots. You can see here that there are lots of side shoots, so I'm trimming those back as well so that the plant doesn't have to focus on growing the whole area. It can really try to focus on creating new roots. With cuttings that have large leaves, it's even possible to trim the leaves in half. That way, because the plants currently have no roots, it will actually preserve the amount of water that the plant holds so that it does not lose too much through the evaporation of water in its leaves. Here, I'm just pulling away the lower branches or the lower twiggy parts or the lower leaves. Just pulling them off, they come off quite easily, and by doing so it exposes the area which will now become the roots. Just using the blade of the secateur, I just score the outer casing of the plant, and again this encourages root growth. You can see the tip has been snipped out so that it doesn't try to grow taller, it will then try to focus on the root area. Trimming back some extra leaves, and there we have it, a cut-in. It's possible that you can dip this into rooting powder, absolutely, but if you don't have any, as I don't have any today, then I'm just going to simply stick this into some sharp sand, but making sure that the sand remains moist, because remember, this plant currently has no root system, and so to prevent it from drying out, the medium has to remain quite moist. I'm going to take several cut-ins, and if only 50% of it takes, it's still a great idea. If you have never done any cut-ins before, now is a great time to do so. Use what you've pruned back anyway. It's just free material, and the bonus is you get some free plants. Give it a go if you haven't already. And if you don't have sharp sand, just stick it in the soil. Ideally, keep it away from direct sunlight so that the tree, or rather so that the cutting, which currently has no roots, does not get overwhelmed by the heat and its inability to take up fluid. So keep it in a shady sort of area, and before you know it, it will start to create some new leaves. Another way to test it that the cutting has taken would be to, in a few weeks' time, try and pull the cutting out of the medium, and if it feels a bit tight, a bit resistant, then it's an indication that it has started to grow some roots. It's also possible to put the cuttings in water and allow that to create the roots. And then when you see the roots, plant that into a small pot and plant it on as the cutting grows. Here, this one is a cutting from jasmine, and it's a nice straight branch. The top bit I've actually cut at a slight angle so that if it rains, it will run off without running in towards the direction of the buds. But it's a nice straight cutting. It's about 12 inches tall, but you can do cuttings anything from 6 inches, 8 inches, 12 inches tall. And again, as you can see at the very base, I've got a diagonal slant, and it just helps the sharp end to be able to dig in to the plastic container of the sand. Again, I score the lower part, and it is from those lower buds where the roots will grow. And there we have it. It's just that simple. Another potential plant. Another reason to cut the bottom of the cutting at a diagonal is that should I drop the sticks, then I will always be able to know which way round the plant will grow, because if this is stuck in the soil the wrong way round, it will not grow. So that's another good reason why I cut the lower part at a diagonal. the joy of being in the garden. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for your support, your encouragement, your comments. Keep well. I hope to see you in my next video.